Well, hello. I'm Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager, here for our August monthly update. Hard to believe it's August. Woke up to a 67-degree day morning today. I know it's been a hot summer, at least some weeks of it, but this week has been much more pleasant. And again, as I've done in other broadcasts, would encourage you to get outside, enjoy the warm weather, and visit our parks, our golf course, downtown, our multi-use path. But get out and move around and enjoy the community that we live in. There's a lot to see here and a lot to be thankful for. Staffing, I do think we have a great staff. We've added a new addition to the management team and an HR director. We have hired Bernadette Carter-Dove, and I guess we have rehired Bernadette. She worked here in the 1990s when Mayor King was our personnel director. She left and has been HR director for two different organizations over the past 10 or 12 years and was one of the applicants we interviewed, and very delighted to have her back on staff. And she's been here a week and still here, still smiling, and I hope she'll continue that smiling as she gets out and meets the community, meets our employees, and again helps us move the community forward from a staffing and human resources standpoint. But really excited to have her on board. Hurricane season, again, it runs to November 30th. There's some talk on the national news about hurricanes and things going on. It's not been a threat to our area yet, but we all know we're prone to that, and certainly we need to be diligent and able to take care of our families. And the advice is always to be able to look after your families for a 3-day period. Food, water, batteries, radio, communications, everything you can think of, and there are lists available. You can call City Hall, we'll share a disaster list recommended. But again, to be able to look after your family for a 3-day period through any type of disaster. And again, with hurricane season here through the end of November, we want to make sure people are certainly keeping that in the back of their mind and prepared for those events. Community appearance continues to be an ongoing concern for us in terms of litter, primarily dilapidated houses, overgrown grass, things of that nature. If you have problems in your neighborhood, please don't hesitate to call the city. We can do code enforcement that will require people to mow grass, or we'll mow it for them. Will require people to clean up trash in their yard, or we'll do it for them at a cost. And certainly encourage each of you to do your part in keeping your business, residence, neighborhood as clean as it can be. But where we can help, don't hesitate to call in my office, 919-580-4330. Again, 919-580-4330. But community appearance is very important to the mayor and council and myself. We do have staff that are out daily picking up trash and trying to make the community a better place. A reminder that schools are starting in August. Goldsboro High School started back this week, along with School of Engineering and the Wayne Early College. Just want to be mindful of the community as we see students that'll be driving, that'll be walking, or that'll be riding school buses. And again, want to make sure it's a safe school season for all, but that does change the dynamics of traffic flow, and sometimes we get behind buses and we get frustrated and impatient. Time for all of us just to remember they're out there and to make sure we're all safely getting to our destination. So August is certainly the month for that, and I think you'll hear more of that. Hurricane recovery still from Matthew. Many of us have moved on and life is back to normal. There are many in our community, life is still not back to normal. It will still take some time. I do want to share we continue to look for funding sources. Our public works staff applied for a grant to do stream restoration work, meaning clearing, pulling, snagging, pulling limbs out. That project of about $100,000 was awarded by council last month. We'll do work along the Big Ditch, Stony Creek, Howell Creek, Mimosa Park. We've also applied for another $1.1 million grant for the Golden Leaf to do more of that type of work, as well as some stormwater improvements and some large diameter pipes that had problems during the hurricane, or at least the problem became more acute during the hurricane. And we've also applied to Golden Leaf for another $2 million in money to help waterproof or floodproof our water treatment facility. It did not go underwater during Hurricanes Fran or Floyd, but both presented real challenges at the plant and could have presented problems with our water supply. So we're trying to be proactive in raising a berm around that facility, but it takes about $2 million to do that, and we are seeking outside sources. And then there's the CDBG disaster recovery funds. That funding has been talked about, almost $200 million, $25 million of which is really dedicated to Wayne County, and a significant part of that will be coming to City of Goldsboro, mostly directed toward housing. There is some towards stormwater infrastructure, planning kinds of things, but most of that money will be towards housing, both rental, owner-occupied, and rental, and more to come on that as we're working through that process. But please keep the hurricane victims in your thoughts and prayers, and funding where you can, as that need is still there. We have talked about our summer youth program a number of times, where the city has hired 60 youth, mostly ages 14, 15, and 16, and scattered them throughout the community. That program continues to bring back success after success, or positive story after positive story, both from the youth involved and from the facilities in which they're working. I think you'll hear more about that as we do follow-ups with City Council and sort of an after-action report when that program comes to an end this August. But we'll have some version of that program back next summer, hopefully with outside funding to help. This year, the City of Goldsboro put close to $100,000 into running this program. Next year, I hope that we're able to leverage outside funding sources to do that kind of number and maybe more. Again, managing that has taken some effort, and I do want to congratulate or commend our Community Relations Department, Nicole Simpson-Carter and her staff, and Cassandra for handling all of the logistics that go along with having 60 youth employed and the various work sites. So again, I think a very successful program. And again, I want to thank the council for pushing us to do it and funding it, and then our staff for carrying that out. We continue to work on community police relations. I think that's ongoing in most communities, from the National Night Out event to our community cares events to police walking neighborhoods to our coffee with a cop at fast food facilities, to being in neighborhoods, to being in the schools. What I would tell you, if you have a community event and you'd like to have police there in terms of just walking through and saying hello or being part of it to get to better know people in your neighborhood or at your church or wherever, please call us. Call the police department, call my office. We will try to arrange that. They may not stay for hours and hours, but certainly they can be part of the event to come through, and just to make sure that we are knowing one another. We have a lot of great officers. They do want to make this community a better place, and certainly getting out so you have the relationship before there's a problem, I think makes it better for all. Builds the trust so that we talk to each other, or we know who we're talking to when we have an issue or concern that happens in our home or neighborhood or business. So if you need us, please don't hesitate to call. We're also talking about a police athletic league, probably be incorporated into our Parks and Rec leagues this fall in terms of officers coaching teams of maybe youth in underserved areas that don't know police well, and again, trying to build those relationships. So we're pretty excited about having that coming out this fall as well. Violence in our community, it's a problem nationally, but it's a problem here in Goldsboro as well. And anytime someone's trying to hurt someone else, that's not right. And we all have a duty to report those kinds of things. So if you see something that looks unusual, or you believe something is going to lead to violence against someone, physical or otherwise, please reach out before it happens and don't wait till it's happened. I will mention this fight at the Circle K. There's been a lot of commenting about our police response. I believe we responded after talking with the chief in an appropriate time frame. It would have been nice to have been there sooner, but it appears we were there within about 4 minutes of the call, and our officers all were engaged during the time at other calls. When that call came in, they did respond to the site. Some commenting about our police don't care and they're just letting people fight it out. That is not true. Our officers do care. We do not want to let folks get hurt, but it also takes some time to respond. And I will tell you, in the video I've watched, there were a lot of people there that could have called 911 sooner that it appeared did not. And I would just say it's incumbent upon all of us, when we see something that looks like it's going to turn into a fight or something else, to please call 911 and get us there as those things are going, or really before they start. So again, I would ask of all of you to do that. We've talked an awful lot about CALEA accreditation within our police department. Probably some pros and cons to that. We've discussed it over the last several years, but the council did make the decision, and we are now officially enrolled as of August in the CALEA accreditation process. We have hired a CALEA manager, so there'll be more reports of that as we go forward. And what really we'll do, at least from a simplistic standpoint, is make sure that our policies within our police department are based and agreeable with sort of model ordinance across the country. So again, more to come on that, but that's the short version, and excited that we're finally moving down that step to become accredited. And it is a 3-year process, so there'll be updates as we go along. And then finally, on the police side, the Mayor and Council did approve us joining the U.S. Marshals Task Force. So we will have our Goldsboro Police Department as part of the U.S. Marshals Task Force. Better resources to bring into the community, will help other communities. And again, I think a good task force to be part of in terms of helping our community and others. Talked about our stormwater utility fee last month. I won't get too deep into it this month, except to say you will be seeing a $4.50 monthly bill for all developed properties. It'll come on the water and sewer bills for those properties that have water and sewer. It will come in the form of a one-time payment for those that don't. But all developed property in the city of Goldsboro, if you have questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us, and we'll talk through that. And we still have some developing parts for how we're going to handle the more impervious area, which are more of our commercial and business properties. Again, eventually they will pay that $4.50 a month based on impervious area. So if they have 3 units based on that $4.50 a month, they'll pay almost $15 based on how much stormwater leaves their site. So more to come on that, but do want to remind you that is on utility bills this summer. A Hermann Park Recreation Center. We've talked about replacing the Hermann Park Center with our mayor and council several times, and most recently in July. When we started, we were talking about an $8 to $10 million project. In July, the numbers for 2 gyms are around $15 million. For a 3-gym facility is $17 million. That facility has grown into that based on feedback we received at public forums. So again, asking the community what you'd like to see. It has moved from an $8 to $10 million project to a $15 to $17 million project. That creates some challenges in Goldsboro in terms of funding that without a significant tax increase. We've always talked about a slight tax increase being needed. And so our mayor and council have taken pause to say, let's talk about that some more. And I think there'll be something in terms of replacing Hermann Park Center, but I don't think it'll be a $15 to $17 million facility. So again, more conversation to come. Again, the facility that we have is aged. It's really not a rec center. And I think having something similar to a W.A. Foster, or a little larger, but similar to that in concept, would be a very good benefit for our community. And I will tell you, with regards to W.A. Foster, the old center had on average during the summertime about 1,000 kids or 1,000 people per month, kids and adults, come through the front door, 1,000 a month. The new W.A. Foster, and tracking numbers this past 2 months, have had over 10,000 people, young or youth and adults, come through the doors for both months. For June and July, over 10,000 people came in each month. So 10 times what we had at the old facility. So building a newer state-of-the-art facility in the right location does seem to make a difference, and I think the Hermann Park Center one would generate similar visits, which means people are generally participating in healthy activities at a good place, as opposed to not being more healthy or being just sitting somewhere else and doing nothing. So again, I think there is value in having that within our community. A lot of comments and discussion on Sunday morning alcohol sales. I will tell you, I've heard some that it's more revenue for the city. It may be. We've not run any of those numbers. That has not been for me a motivation whatsoever. I've not heard that out of our mayor and council as a motivation. It really has been, the state allowed it. Many cities in our state are doing it, letting sales start at 10 o'clock versus 12 o'clock. I really haven't been for or against. I was just offering it to the city council to let the community, let them make a choice, and what they really decided, it's up to the community to make a choice. And they didn't see it as a detriment necessarily to the community as a whole. And again, it's just keeping pace with our neighboring communities and what's going on in the state around us. So more to come on that as we go forward in time. But I think for the standpoint of where we are, that it has been allowed by our city council at this point. Warm Heart program sort of came up quickly at our city council work session in August. The John Richards with the YMCA came, talked about a program where the churches and others are trying to hire somebody to put mentors into Goldsboro High School. The first year primarily focusing on the 9th grade, and then their program in future years would work 8th grade at Dillard and move backwards. And so ultimately they would have all of middle school to the first year of high school covered with mentors. Mentoring has been proven to be very successful across many areas of our country, so I think that mentoring does matter. They need volunteers, so they'll be reaching for that, but they also needed funding to help with a full-time person to coordinate it. City Council did agree to fund $35,000 of the salary to fund this person for a year. And again, I think that's a 1-year commitment at this time, and then the council would evaluate it in terms of its effectiveness and is that where our money should be going. But I can't think of anything better than trying to help our youth become productive citizens in the future. So that is something that I know is important to the council, and I personally think is important for the community as well. The North Carolina Department of Transportation did hold a citizen workshop on our Central Hill, or their Central Hill Royal Avenue realignment project there at Berkeley Boulevard. It's still a couple of years out from construction, but they do have conceptual plans. We do have those available. We'd be happy to talk more about that, but it is a project that comes to help with mobility through our community. So when you're wondering, when will it be better in terms of Royal Avenue and Central Heights, they ought to be on the same side of the railroad track. This project does that. It will move Central Heights to the north side, so where it aligns with Royal Avenue and makes the intersection there at Berkeley and the railroad much better in the future. Still a couple of years out, but it is a project that's funded with DOT and moving forward. We've talked about street resurfacing. That contract is out. The council just awarded a contract to pave a dirt street or 2 dirt streets. They're going to pave a section of Humphrey Street from 4th Street to 8th Street, so that contract has been awarded, and paving a section of Dakota Street from 4th to Aycock. So both of those neighborhoods will have their streets paved within the next 6 months. So again, that ought to be, we haven't paved a street here in Goldsboro in a very long time. It does show some progress and was certainly a goal of the council for the past several years. Last thing I close with activities. There always seems to be a lot going on in our community to me as its manager, but sometimes you have to look for it. From the Arts Council to our downtown activities, to the Paramount, to Parks and Rec, to private events. Look to our websites, the things that we know are out there. We are sharing, our chamber is sharing information. If you have questions or other things to do, don't hesitate to give us a call. I will mention Beak Week. It is September 9th. It's the week leading up to that. That's September 9th is a Saturday, but a lot of activities planned for September 9th downtown. So please, if you're in Goldsboro or close by, make plans to attend Beak Week September 9th in downtown Goldsboro. With that, I'm going to close for now. As always, I would tell you, if we can be of service, don't hesitate to give us a call. My office number, 919-580-4330, 919-580-4330. And as always, we're here to serve. Get out and enjoy this nice weather, and we'll talk to you next month.